J.C. Newman Cigar Studio in Boston, Massachusetts, and the Gurkha Cigar Studio in beautiful British Columbia. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Mitchell Santaga.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and I am joined once again by my very good friend and counterpart, Mitchell Santaga of SmokinTabacco.com, live in beautiful British Columbia in the Gurkha Cigar Studios. Mitchell, how are we doing? And we also have with us, I normally actually leave the guests off on the welcome screen, but I included him, so we're going to go right into who our guest is tonight. But it's our very good friend. You may know him as the Professor. He is several hundred years old. He's been around since the original Taino Indian tribes first discovered tobacco and created all of the rituals and religious-like things with it that eventually led into what we know and love today. And here he is, as Jose Blanco, live on the Smokin Tabacco Show for the first time in I think 2 years. So Jose, welcome back. Oh, you're muted. Mitchell, I think you're frozen. Oh no, what happened here? Mitchell's frozen. Jose's muted. Oh, there we go. I got you unmuted. I think.
Okay.
There you go. I can
me?
hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now. And I think Mitchell's frozen, so I'm gonna take him off the screen there. But Jose,
Well, anyway,
welcome back to the show.
Matt, yeah, it's been 2 years. I remember I was one of the, one of the first, maybe a couple of guys when you started off the show. This is now going to be what, 3 years now?
We're past our third year. We're at like 3.5 now. So yeah, it's been
Okay. So
it's
I
been a
was
ride.
No, it's been amazing, and you've had some amazing guests there, and I got to meet this Canadian over there that looked like a kid going to a Toys R Us, uh, all over the PCA, and it's good to see. I mean, you're young too, but Mitchell is much younger, and it's good to see the young generation,
So,
so excited about cigars and things like that.
Mitchell, I'll let you tell him.
so Jose, this happens every week with all the guests. I'm actually older than Matthew.
Mm-hmm. Not by much, but
Not by much.
he is older.
I'm actually a
Holy
whole
crap.
year older than Matt,
Yeah.
and I actually have currently more children than him since he has 0, and I currently have
I mean,
1.
I have one, but she's just not here yet. So technically it's
Very,
0.
very close, very close. But yeah, no, it's a common misconception. I'm actually older than Matthew. I've just weathered a little better than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because I thought, to be honest, I thought
Yeah,
you
people were
like
checking my
maybe
IDs, man.
23 or 24. Yeah, 23, 24 years old. How old
Yeah,
are you?
31. Yeah,
Wow.
31.
Wow.
No spring chicken. I can tell you that.
No.
Jose, just for some context, I turned 30 in December. So I haven't even hit 30 yet, but I do soon. Mitchell's already at 31, so he's like a little bit more than a year older than me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, Jose, for the wonderful compliments.
It's funny because now Jose's calling me old, and I feel like every time I see Jose, this has been the story. This has been a story ever since PCA. We've talked about this. I talked about it with Coop on our other show that we do on Saturdays. I've talked about it on here. The last time I saw you was at PCA, and the first time I saw you at PCA was at the airport. And it's funny because I don't know if you remember what you said to me, but we were at baggage claim, and I was waiting for my bags, and here comes Jose with all of his bags. His, as Coop said, his 300-pound bag suitcases that he has with him because he travels all over the world. And I'm like, oh shit, there's Jose Blanco. And I got all excited. I go, hey, Jose. And you come around and you go, oh, hey, how's it going? And the next thing out of your mouth was, wow, you really put on some pounds. And I was like, wow, thanks. Now he comes on the show and he says I look old. And I'm the youngest guy here. I don't know. I can't win.
No.
I know it's all fun, Jose, but it is funny. You know what the funny part about that is, though? So The best thing about that is, so after all the the bullshit, and I say hello to Jose, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I do miss him. Um, Jose says to me, "Hey, do you have a cigar?" And I said, "Of course I have cigars. So what do you think this is? I'm a professional." So I go through all my cigars, I find a cigar for him, and I give him a cigar, and then I had to go because my bags came, and I had my friends, Kevin and Barbara, waiting to take me to the hotel. And so I get checked into my hotel. I go upstairs, I get rid of my bags and stuff, and I go, I'm going to go down to the Circle Bar and see everybody because I haven't seen everybody in a while. And, I know it's late, but whatever. I want a cigar, and I just was on a plane for almost 7 hours, and I've had enough. So I go downstairs, and I'm having a cigar, and everyone's down there, and I see Pete Johnson. And I wave to him, and he sees me, and he goes, "Oh, hey." And he waves me over, and I go, "Hey, what's up, Pete? How's it going?" He was like, "Great." And he's like, "Hey, I just want to say, by the way, first of all, I was wearing my Chicago Bulls jersey, my Michael Jordan jersey." And he's like, "First of all, I love your jersey because he's the real GOAT." And he said, "And the second thing I want to tell you is thank you for giving Jose Blanco a tatuaje." I said, "Oh, yeah, you're welcome."
It's true, because I had showed up, no cigars, no nothing, and and for me, I was coming from Macedonia, so it was 2 hours to Istanbul. Then from Istanbul to Miami was 12 and a half, and then from Vegas to no, from Miami to Vegas it was like 4.5, 5 hours. And I didn't have a cigar with me. I don't know what happened, but and thank God I saw Matt, and he had a lot of cigars in his travel humidor, and I've always been a big fan of Pete, so I said, let me take this one.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with tatuaje. Which we'll talk about a little bit in a sec. They've kind of had a control over the headlines in the last couple of days, and I'll get into why and what in a little bit because I want to talk about Jose first. But first of all, before we get too deep into anything, we got to talk about what we're smoking. And tonight, our cigars are once again brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's right, the number 2, guyscigars.com. Head over there today for one of the widest, biggest selections of cigars, cigar brands, and cigar accessories in the industry. You can find all your favorites at the number 2, guyscigars.com. This one you probably can't find at 2guyscigars.com, 2guyscigars.com, but you can find a very big collection and wide selection of Arturo Fuente products at 2guyscigars.com. But I will go first. Jose, I know this is one of your absolute favorites, so I grabbed this just because you were on here. I grabbed a Don Carlos Lancero, which
Oh,
I know.
that's a unicorn.
Oh,
That's a unicorn.
lights out.
We don't sell them, and the funny thing, when in the last 2 or 3 years, when people have come to visit us at the factory, you know, they want to see Carlito, they want to see Cito, they want to see me, they want to see the whole thing. But when they want to go to the see the different rooms, because we have a room, where the Magnums are made, a room for the Hemingways, a room for the Don Carlos, a room for the Opus. Of course, they want to see all the rooms. But one of the things that fascinates them the most is to see the guy who makes the Lanceros. Because to make that cigar 7.5 by 38 with 7 different tobaccos entubado,
Mm-hmm.
like a straw, and to get them to draw like they do, that's a unicorn. When I go there, Carlito, I'll get 8 or 10 of them. I'll smoke a couple. Some special people when I travel, I'll give them one. But I think that is, to be honest, I've been smoking for 57 years. I've never had a Lancero as good as that one. To me, it's not only a unicorn, it's memorable. And the thing is that we don't sell them. The majority of those things is for charity because the guy only makes 25 a day. That's it.
Yeah, and I've met him and I've seen the process myself. Nicole and I went down there last year, and it really is. It really is just so fascinating to watch. Because I watched him make to roll them in the intubado. It really is. It to actually see the process, and it looks so much easier than I'm sure it really is too. Um,
And the funny thing about it, talking about Lanceros, people ask me all the time for years and years, what's the hardest cigar to make? Is it a Diadema Fino? Is it a Salomon? Is it a Bellicoso? Tell them it's a Lancero. Because look, I'm going to be honest about this. Why do a lot of people don't like Lanceros? There's two two things you hear. A lot of people say, well, it's like a girly smoke, totally different. On the contrary, it's a connoisseur smoke. And the problem is a lot of them, and we don't name companies, a lot of them are tight or a lot of them are loose.
Mm-hmm.
So even though there's some companies out there that make great lanceros, but the way that lancero is made, no factory in the world can make a lancero as it's made at Fuente. And I don't say that because I work with Carlito, because I've said that before working with Fuente.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell I'm a big Lancero guy myself, so I've smoked a lot of Lanceros, a lot of different brands, and I'll agree just from my perspective. I mean, there have been some that are tight, there's been some that are, loose, whatever. The Fuente Lanceros always perform perfectly. The draw is not too tight, it's not too loose. There's plenty of smoke production. It burns evenly. The ash is not flaky, not too firm either, but it compacts nice as you burn through it, but it's not loose and messy. Just the entire construction and combustion of those Lanceros. I mean, all the Fuente cigars really, but especially since you bring this up, the Lanceros, they do perform almost excellent every single time. And I've had several different Fuente Lanceros, and then I've had tons of Lanceros from tons of different brands. And
But Matthew, the other thing is, sorry to interrupt,
no, absolutely, go ahead.
that a lot of people, unfortunately, when they have smaller ring gauges, 38s, 42s, 44s, they smoke them too fast. And the first thing that I always tell people is, it doesn't matter if you're smoking a 38 or you're smoking a 60 or a 70, whatever you're into, you have to smoke slow. But in the case of the Lancero, you really have to slowly smoke it so the cigar can perform. Because people think that the flavor is in the leaf, and it's not. It's the essential oils that the wrapper, the filler, and the binder have. So when you start to put in smoke, smoke, and smoke, it could be on any side. It's like smoking paper. So you have to really, really smoke every cigar slowly with the Lancero more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another part to this. I want to pause for a second because I gotta get. Are you having a cigar with us tonight, Jose?
No, because it's
Oh, you're inside.
yeah, I'm inside.
That's okay. Mitchell, what are you smoking?
Hopefully my background noise isn't too bad. There's just a generator that I turned on recently, but
It's not too bad. Oh, Casa Fuente.
Casa Fuente. I think this is the Pyramides, the 6x52, the little torpedo head. It's yeah,
Very
it's
nice.
really nice. These I got a year ago at the Casa Fuente in Vegas. Actually, I picked them up with my dad last year when we were there, and yeah, this is great. This is smoking really well, and I definitely concur with what Jose was going to say. I was going to mention that it's with some vitolas, whether it's a little bit more open or a little bit tighter, you can kind of deal with it. But with a Lancero, you really it really has to be spot on, because if it's too open and you're just huffing on that thing and it just heats up like crazy, it can ruin the cigar very quickly. So you really gotta slow that draw rate, that draw pressure. And but yes, I love Lanceros as well. I think most people in the industry would concur that a Lancero is a great vitola, except for Coop.
Yeah, Coop's the only person I know who doesn't like Lanceros.
Even though I think he did
Personally.
give a Lancero a cigar of the year.
He gave, I think, or was it number 2? It was number 1 or number 2. I can't remember. But yeah, he did. But he's not big on Lanceros, and I don't know. I don't know why.
I think he just has the same thing as we mentioned. He's very critical with them, and they can be harder to do extremely well. But when they are done really well, they can be at the upper echelon of a cigar.
Yeah.
But there's more of them that fall flat due to some of those construction issues, as well as a lot of people how many times do we hear people say, I blend 6x50, I blend 6x52? How many people are out there blending 7.5 by 38 as a common thing to know how to blend that leaf, right? They They know how to, still put some ligero in there to have flavor, but to balance it out with those visos and secos, and to also tame that large amount of surface area you get with the wrapper, right? Like that's the thing with the Lancero, is it's the most amount of wrapper per filler ratio. Can you learn to balance that? And I don't think a lot of blenders have a lot of practice with that. But with the Fuentes, I think they have a lot of Lanceros offered, and they've been doing it for so long that they do such a great job with it.
Yeah, 100%. It's funny, Jose, I know that you do a lot of tasting sessions and blending seminars and stuff like that. And it's funny because, Carlito was the one who really kind of taught me and showed me, how to taste wrapper with Lanceros. I mean, he put several different Lanceros in front of me and had me smoke them all at the same time, so that I could really pick up on the different wrappers. And I remember, I'll never forget that experience because it was one of the first times that like it really like got me thinking. And I had several different cigars with several different wrappers in front of me that I was smoking all at the same time, and I could really taste them. I mean, a lot of times when I smoke a cigar, even Lanceros, and I smoke one cigar at a time, and I think about that one cigar. But really, and I'm sure you can speak to this too. But it was one of the first times, and I was able to really go back and forth and smoke a little this one, smoke a little this one, and I really accentuate the differences in the tobaccos, which was mostly the wrapper that I was tasting. And I'll never forget, it was the day that I realized how much flavor is really in the Don Carlos. I just remember going back to it and being like, oh shit, there's a lot more flavor in this than I even originally realized. And I picked up on things that I didn't necessarily realize because I was able to have another cigar that I could pick up on its wrapper from and go back and forth and really like pick up on the different notes very specifically and kind of play between the two. And that was a great experience because it really helped me to understand a little bit more of my palate, which I still have not mastered, and I don't think I ever will. But I think that it was a really important lesson for me to learn with tobaccos.
Let me tell you something. You know that for many years, whether when I was with La Aurora or I was with Joya de Nicaragua, with Ernesto, when I was at La Aurora, I remember back in 2000, it had been 2000, 2001. One of the things that I noticed the most when people would visit the factory, they would talk about the wrapper, that a lot of people didn't understand the impact of the wrapper. Because a lot of people think that, the flavor and the strength that you pick up, of course, it's a combination of filler, binder, and wrapper. But the importance on the overall flavor and strength of the cigar with the wrapper. So that's why I went to Guillermo one day and I told the master roller there, make me a cigar. I think it was at that time a 6x52. And I said, put an inch and a half of Connecticut, inch and a half, I think was Matafine, I think an inch and a half of Corojo. And I went to Guillermo with the idea. And then Guillermo said, well, if you can do it with 3, we'll do it with 4. And I said, well, what the hell, what if we could do it with 4, let's do it with 5. So I started to go out all over the world with this. And it amazed me that people didn't realize how much the impact of the wrapper was until they started to smoke that cigar with the 5 different wrappers. So the last one that I made, was Indonesia was first, second was Connecticut, third was Negro San Andres, fourth was Connecticut Broadleaf, and the fifth one was Habano, Ecuador. But the primings, and people then started saying, but why don't you start with the strongest first? And I said, if we start with the strongest first, then by the time you're done with the 5th wrapper, your palate's going to be shocked. So we go from mild to medium to full, and then full body. So people could really realize the impact of the wrapper. And I mean, I don't know, I did like 3,000 or 2,800 in 40 different countries seminars of that, and people learned a lot about it.
Now, I had a kind of a question. You mentioned primings, and it's always something I wondered. I know that with fillers, a lot of the times they'll say, this is a jalapa viso, and this is a esteli seco, this is a viso seco ligero, and they classify those regions and the primings on the fillers. But I don't often hear those primings translated to wrappers. Does wrapper always come from a relatively similar
No,
priming
no,
of the
but the
leaf?
wrapper, the wrapper have their own primings too. They have
So
ligero, viso, and seco too.
yeah, I find it interesting that people, or at least like companies, don't at least like publicly classify like, oh, this is a broadleaf ligero versus a broadleaf seco wrapper. Um, do you know why that is? Like why that they don't? Because again, like you mentioned, that can be such a major influence. Like you could have even two Ecuadorian Habanos, which I love Ecuadorian Habano, but one could be a lower priming and another one could be a higher priming. And again, they could be the exact same blend, yet they could
No,
be
no, no, no,
accentuated
no,
so
no,
differently.
no, no, Mitchell, but remember this. Of course, depending on the priming. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you make a Robusto. Robusto has 5 different leaves. Let's say you have one ligero, leaf and a half of viso, or maybe one viso and two of seco. If you do that, let's say with a seco priming, and you do it with a viso priming, and you do it with a ligero priming, you're gonna have 3 different cigars.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I just wonder why they don't often, I guess, publicly categorize their wrapper primings to people. But
No, it's not common from companies, and I've been
yeah,
around for a while, and internally, we talk about it internally. XYZ company talks about it, but very few people will say, this Toro 6x54 has a Connecticut, uh, Ecuadorian Connecticut Seco, and it has the binder is a viso or a seco, and then the fillers are this, that, because it's more or less the different formulas that everybody uses. Some companies like to tell all about it. With Fuente, Carlito, when he gives you something, and I ask, hey, Papa, I think this is this, and he goes, it's tobacco, don't worry. So some people talk about it, other people don't. There's companies that like to
yeah,
talk about it.
for
We
sure.
disclose on some stuff, but we don't disclose on everything. That's something that I respect from everybody.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good question though, Mitchell. I mean, I was gonna follow up, but with does it really matter? If where the wrapper leaf came from, if it's disclosed or whatnot. Um, but Jose, thank you for getting into that with us. It's fun how these things go. Like I had like a list of things that like we're definitely going to cover tonight, and then the organic stuff that pops up sometimes is the best part of the conversation. Um, but anyway, I wanted to get to a couple of those things tonight because I know we only have so much time, and I know that there's a couple of things that we can really get into with Jose. One of the first things I wanted to bring up with you, Jose, we talked about this, was the FDA ruling. Um, that came was that last week or 2 weeks ago? Can't remember. The days are all a blur now
Yeah,
for
a
me.
couple of weeks ago.
I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Um, the FDA. So Judge Mehta had ruled that the FDA did not um, properly do their due diligence with this case. And Jose, I know that you're probably much more versed on a lot of the technical parts of this. So I really want you to speak more onto this. Just give a brief summary of what exactly happened, but then also, tell our listeners who maybe don't understand this, what does this ruling mean for the cigar industry and consumers who buy cigars? How does this affect them long term?
Well, this is something that we've been fighting for many, many years. You also have to remember that the FDA wanted to put a predicate date of. They wanted all the cigars after 2007 had to go to a process, had to go to testing. Then they gave a date. I remember that was the 8th of August of 2016. A lot of people uh, didn't keep didn't continue making new blends, but then the FDA this, the FDA that, the things were changing all the time. But what the ruling means, and they have still 60 days to appeal. But I think that with all the problems with vape, with all the things that the FDA has on their hands, I hope and I pray, and we all pray that they understand that we are a product that's 100% natural. You could take a cigar to any lab in the world, and even the the glue that we use is a sap from a tree. It's a vegetable to put onto the filler and the binder, and the wrapper. So it's 100% natural. Just give me 1 minute. I want to say hi. You want to say hi? Okay, say hi.
Hey,
He's not
buddy.
feeling too. Okay, okay. So what the ruling does, and like I said, they have 60 days to appeal, is for the moment we won't have to do testing. The FDA cannot invade anything of the things they wanted to do. They wanted to put that they wanted to visit the factories. They wanted to set up the standards. They wanted to have absolute control of everything. Now, this that has been achieved, of course, the PCA helped a lot. But to be honest, it was the hard work of the CRA and the 10 companies that gave the $600,000 to pay the lawyer to win the case. I think we've talked about it enough, but what I think is that people should understand that this is a big win for the industry. It's a big win for consumers. It's a big win for the retailers. And it's even a big win for media people. Those who didn't give a dime, who have been benefiting out of this for years, maybe now they'll understand that we have to unite. And if you look at those 10 companies that put up the money, it was 10 family owned companies with tradition, with love, that have been in business for many, many years and care about the business. So I think with this, a lot of people should wake up and see that it was possible to win the case. And let's all unite, big companies, medium sized companies, small companies, because this is still not over. Do we have a huge, huge chance that we might really be free of all this? Absolutely. But we have to keep vigilant.
Yeah, I knew it was a big win, and I know the basis of it myself. I've had some conversations with people who, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. While it's great, the conversations I've had with several other people are a fear that in time, I don't know when or whatever, but within a reasonable amount of time, the FDA could return and come at the industry and try to attack it a small piece at a time. Go after flavored stuff, go after manufacturing, go after advertising and media, and just try to break it down piece by piece instead of trying to gobble up it all at once, which it clearly I think saw that it cannot do. Um, is that a realistic concern? Does the FDA come back and try to, still destroy our industry, in small pieces over time till we get to a point where there's nothing left of it, or it just becomes, just not what it is today.
Look, the way that we all see it, or majority of us see it, they're not. We don't know if they're going to appeal or not. But even if they don't appeal, they will definitely try to go around and try to implement different things. Remember, it's not only the FDA. We have to deal also with taxes and smoking bans.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, what happens if they say, well, you can't have any, like in many countries in Europe, you cannot do anything on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. So there's a lot of countries where the store owners cannot have their shop on Facebook. They have their own private as a person, but they regulate everything. So that is something maybe 2 or 3 years from now could come down. But we have these anti-tobacco people that are always trying to find a way to go after us. And the thing is that our industry is about 1.2, 1.3 million dollars, but the cigarette industry is close to 85 to 87 billion dollars, and they want to mix us up with that and the vape and the other stuff, and it's not fair.
It's not. It's a completely different product. I mean, you know, anyone who's seen the movie Handrolled, and if you haven't, you should.
Yes,
Carlito,
yes, I've
well, I know you have, Jose, but for the audience, but Carlito was in there, and it's funny because when he talked about this, he was like, it's apples and oranges. It's like a chimpanzee. It's like comparing a chimpanzee to a dolphin, I think is what Carlito said. Like they're both mammals, but like one lives on land, one lives in the ocean. Like, yeah, they're distantly related, but they're very absolutely completely different products. I mean, you have cigarettes and the tobacco that's in there and everything that's done to that tobacco and how it's made by machine, and it's treated and it's rolled with paper, and cigars, which, as you said before, very organic. There's nothing artificial about them. Even the glue is a tree sap.
exactly.
It's made from fruit. It's all natural. Um, there's nothing added to cigars. The only thing I'll ask you is, I've heard someone mention this before, and I want to kind of clear the air on this when it comes to pesticides. Some people have claimed like, well, but a lot of tobacco growers use pesticides that get on the leaves, which therefore go into the cigars that you smoke, and that can be looked at as just as harmful. What would your response to that comment be?
Well, I think, to be honest, I'm not a scientist, but from all the years that I've seen, and you've been in the factory, when you do
Yep.
that fermentation process, that you're putting that tobacco at and so 130, 140. I think anything that's there just goes away with that fermentation process. So if you go with that, then people will not eat, because there's a lot of
I was gonna say the food.
crops that are. So but with the tobacco, we have the advantage that in that fermentation process that goes on for weeks and weeks and months. Like I said, I'm not a scientist, but I don't think that if they could have proven that, they would have proven that a long time ago. Look, the
Right.
problem with people that have all these cancers and all things, don't look at cigars. Go look somewhere else, and it's different.
Very, very different. Look, we have this discussion. I know we've talked about the FDA thing on the show. I think we talked a little bit last week with Herclots. Me and Coop have talked about it on Spare Notes a few times. I know it can seem dry, but I think it's important to continue to bring it up to educate people and make people understand why it's important, why they should know about it, why they should educate themselves. Because at the end of the day, if you love smoking premium handmade cigars and you really love the community, you love the lifestyle, and you like watching these shows and listen to people like Jose come on and talk about these things, we all do. We love it. That's why we're here. But at the same time, remember that there's always a threat of it being taken away or ruined. And this is why we talk about it, because it's important, because every little inch of energy and effort from everyone in the cigar community that fights against this, it's important and it's huge. And Jose actually brought this up to me, and I said, yeah, we're going to talk about this on the show, because I think it is important to talk about, and hearing it from Jose, I think, is important to hear too. So, Jose, thank you for having this discussion with us.
And we always
No,
bring up.
and the other thing is that that the money that's raised for the CRA, it's through those 10 packs that we prepare, and those cigars are given by those 10 companies, and we give it, and the CRA sells them, and we thank the thousands of consumers that have bought them to support it. But we also want to thank all those retailers that for many, many years have been selling those, 10 packs, to pay all the legal fees of the CRA, because we have to raise more money now, because if something comes up, we have to, keep on fighting.
Absolutely. The fight, and I think in the big picture, the fight's not over. So we can't,
No.
don't lay down now. It's, we've got a good win, but we have to keep on moving forward. It's not over. So Jose's right.
And we always bring this up, like, I live in Canada, and our country is a
Great
very
example.
good example. The U.S. has a very, you guys in the U.S. are in a very lucky position that you have a very strong consumer base that, in the grand scheme of things, like you said, compared to a cigarette smoker consumer base, is very small. But relative to, say, in Canada, like, I don't know when it was, maybe 8 years ago, the government proposed pretty much a nationwide indoor smoking ban where it eliminated all indoor cigar lounges. And the industry tried to get a bit of like leeway in saying, what if it's a store that's specifically designed for this, only for cigars and only for this? And the government said, no, we're banning it on all fronts, on all cases, even if it's a adult only thing, and even if we create permits, we're banning it across all forces. And it just happened overnight, and it's because the consumer base here wasn't strong enough to speak up and have their voice heard. And you guys have a very good opportunity here, because you have two, like we mentioned, the CRA and the PCA, and other organizations, smaller organizations as
CAA.
well, that CAA, that can facilitate a voice for the people. And it's made it infinitely easier for you to get your message across to politicians through these avenues by, again, easily supporting them, buying these 10 packs, going to their website, checking it out, sharing really, really basic things like that. And we're at the point here where, again, we're at 300+% tax on cigars, in depending on the place. So it can happen. You have states that are approaching 100% tax, like I think New York, some at like 70 or 80. And again, 5-10 years ago, if you told someone that, they probably would have just said, there's no way that would ever happen. It can happen, and if you let them, it will happen. And it doesn't take very much time out of your day. And again, like I said, you have this opportunity with these companies being able to communicate your voice to these larger entities at a much easier way. It's usually a couple clicks. You fill out your name, email address, and you press a couple clicks, and you sign a few petitions, and then, like I said, support financially through buying those packs. And I'm pretty sure like every cigar in those packs are absolute bangers. Like they're like really good cigars. So
Oh yeah,
Oh
there's
yeah.
Opus X, there's Andalusian
yeah,
Bowl, there's
it's a no-brainer.
Tatuajes limited stuff
So
is in there. Yeah, there's good stuff in
you
there.
know, and like I said, we can't. I don't know. We bring it up all the time, but it's a struggle living here and enjoying premium cigars, and it would be a tragedy to see it happen in the States. And yeah, there's lots of work to do at a small, uh, state level, and at the federal level as well. So just you know, every
We got
every
to keep
little bit
fighting.
helps from everyone. Every little bit helps from every person. And this
Absolutely,
is proof. And this is proof of it. Um,
absolutely. Absolutely, it's very important, and follow all those trade organizations like the Cigar Rights of America. Sign up, become a member. Follow Premium Cigar Association. Make sure you follow those guys. Get in touch with them and get on their mailing list and stay in contact. Follow us. I mean, we cover all that stuff too. I mean, that's our job. So, and just pay attention to it when you can, because there's a lot of important stuff that comes out. But moving on to other topics. And I gotta kind of keep this rolling along. But we did just come back from PCA. Jose, we saw you at PCA, as we kind of touched upon earlier. First and foremost, I want to ask you, what did you think of the trade show this year? Your likes, dislikes, whatever you got. What did you think of the show this year?
No, I think the show was very good, and it proves a point also that we saw some of the people, big companies, came back.
Yep.
I think their agenda was totally different from ours. I have a lot of friends that run those companies. I think they miscalculated, didn't believe that the PCA and the CRA and a group of 10 companies could come up with a big win for the industry.
Yep.
I think some other companies are coming back. We'll see them in March. But again, to all those big companies, and I know maybe the big wigs don't hear it, but they have their guys we know that hear everything. Let's all stick together. Let's just make this industry stronger, because we have a common enemy. That's the FDA, that's the government, that's the states, that's the city. So to me, the show was very good. Saw a lot of new brands. I think the Boutique Association, they had, I think the show for them was very good. For all the established companies, it was good. And I think next year we're going to have another great year, because a lot of people that haven't been in the show in years, because their good months are June, July, can't leave the shops. So for them to come out in March, and like in the Midwest and the upper Northeast or the Northwest, it's going to be cold. So it's going to be vacation time for them. Look, to be honest, the PCA, they have changed a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been dealing with RTDA, then it was IPCPR. I used to be on the advisory committee. And things that we said many, many, many years ago, it just didn't get through. And I think that things are getting through to them now. Look, this has to be a win-win situation for the manufacturers, but it has to be a win-win situation also for the retailers. Because when those two win-win situations occur in harmony, it's a win situation for the consumers. Even though our show, different other shows, the consumers do not go, but they read about everything that's happening. They read it from you guys. They read it from Coop. They read it from Halfreel. They read it from Cigar Aficionado. They read it from everybody, and they want to know the good, the bad, the ugly, and they want to know about everything. Because why? It's because of the impact that social media has had in our lives and in the life of the industry, the retailers, the media, and then the consumer. So I think overall, a great show. I think next year is going to be another great show too. So continue to support, the PCA, support your CRA, and I think that next year is going to determine a lot how the future years are going to be, because of the change of the month where it's going to be. And to be honest, we always wanted it to be or March or April. And I'll tell you why. First of all, for a lot of people, they can go, they wouldn't go in the summertime. But more than that, it gives an opportunity for the companies. And I'll tell you why. You go to the show in July and you're a retailer, and you go to XYZ company that's coming out with a new line extension, and you order, okay, give me 3 sizes, 5 boxes of each. When are you going to ship? Well, we think we're going to ship in October. So October goes by, you don't get it. November goes by, you don't get it. December goes by. And that first week of January, where it's damn cold, where you don't have any money because you had to pay all those bills, that invoice comes in. But now you're going to have a lot of months of anticipation to prepare for all those cigars and at least try to get them between August, September, and October. So when November and December come in, that shop that's supporting you buying those cigars can sell them.
Right.
I think that's one of the things that's going to help the show a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what the attendance level is like the next couple of years with the earlier in the year. Um, Next year we're in Vegas. The year after that we're going to New Orleans. So
Yep.
that also will be interesting to see if location affects the
Hmm.
way, how many retailers come, if they like going there better. Um, there's a lot of us that have talked about New Orleans and been a little skeptical about how that might go based on the experiences that have happened in the past. But still, I think the PCA knew that they had to go for it. They had to try this. So they're doing it. So you can't really fault them for that. They got feedback from people. Hey, we want to go somewhere else.
Okay.
It's tricky to find a place that we can host this trade show. It's not easy. A lot of it has to do with the smoking, but um, they're putting
Okay.
together a trade show, and we'll see how it goes. And I'd be curious to see what the attendance is like from that show
Okay.
for retailers.
Matt, give me a minute, please.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like you said, especially like a lot of media, they've been doing it for a long time. Even companies and retailers. The last New Orleans show, again, both of us weren't there, and we can only go based off of what we've heard and seen so far. We're looking at a different time of the year, and B, we're looking at, like even Jose already mentioned, we're looking at a different PCA organization that actually, at least so far, has been listening to feedback from all sources, from manufacturers, from media, from consumers, and maybe not as much from consumers, but from retailers. So I think that in itself might allow for New Orleans to be a bit more of a success than it previously was. I'm very hopeful. I definitely also think that having it closer to the East Coast, even though it's obviously not the East Coast, but having it closer to the East makes it also easier for a lot of companies, manufacturers, and retailers to get to the trade show. A lot of people have to travel very far to get to Vegas. Obviously, for me and a few of the other guys on the team, it's really close. But I'd say, I don't know if this is true, but I'd say a majority of the industry is at either centrally located or easterly located in the United States. So I think geographically, the New Orleans could be a very good show. And then again, time of year now. One of the biggest things people were complaining about was the intense heat and humidity and nowhere to smoke. But uh, at least from what I can tell,
As
March,
Carl just
April,
pointed out.
yeah, exactly. March, April will most likely be better in terms of weather. And again, some of the things that have been thrown out to accommodate for the lack of places to smoke, hopefully those can be amended for 2020. Was that 2025? I think is the trade show that
Yes,
we're gonna.
25. Yes.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I'm
Matt,
I'm very.
Matt, Matt
Yes.
and Mitchell, look, I have an emergency. I'm really sorry. Jasper is not feeling well. We might have to take him to the hospital. He's throwing up. It's been there for a while. So I'm really, really, really sorry about this. We'll probably have to do another show. I don't have a problem doing it with you guys.
Yeah, no
So I'm
worries.
really sorry. One
Of
one
course,
of
we
the things,
understand.
just to wrap it up. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm coming. A couple of things. We're going to Dortmund. The Dortmund show is coming up. That's very important. I think that one of the things that we have to look towards this year, with all the new companies and all the new rulings that have come out, I worry a little bit about that. I don't have anything about anybody getting into the business, but my recommendation is this: if you want to get into it, do it right. go to someone that's making good cigars, even if you're going to pay maybe 25 cents more for a cigar. But remember that consumers today know how to smoke more than they did 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. Today, the cigar has to perform. You could ask $50 for a cigar. That's not a problem, but it has to be worth $50. You can't come out, you go to whatever country you want to go and all of a sudden, come out with a 30, 40, $50 cigar with a beautiful box in the band. People will buy it. But that person who gave $30 for that cigar, it has to be worth $30. There's people that'll go out to buy the best $4 cigar out there, and they'll go to store and try to get the best thing they got. Okay, Jeff. Matt, I really have to go.
Don't worry about it, Jose. Go ahead.
Say, family first.
We will definitely do another show because we have a lot to talk about it. Mitchell, great to see you. Everybody's on the air tonight. Sorry, guys. It's never happened before, but it is what it is. Thank you. Good night, guys. Thank you.
Bye, Jose.
Thank
Thank you.
Family.
Hope Jasper's better.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
So we're gonna let Jose go. And I hope that I hope that
Hope he's okay.
it's too bad. I hope Jasper's doing okay. It sounded rough. But yeah, like Barbara said right here, you got to take care of family first.
Yeah, family first.
I hope that he's okay. I know that's tricky. So, what I did do, I think Pete Johnson's gonna jump on right now. Just give me a moment. I'm talking to him. Either one, but try to use.
But yeah, like you said, as the consumer becomes more educated, they look for a higher quality product. And if anything, everyone's looking for value. Like you said, it can be a $50 cigar, but is the experience worth $50 of your time, right? That's one of the biggest things. Is the quality there? Is the flavor there? Is the cigar going to perform? I think hopefully, excuse me, with all these new brands coming into or new companies coming into the industry, it gives us an opportunity to grow, to learn, to increase the visibility of the entire industry overall, right? And I think it's going to be a good thing overall. But like you said, make sure the quality's there and make sure the price is worth the product.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking to Pete, and
No,
I'm
for
trying
sure.
to pivot
I know,
because I haven't had anyone leave the show like this. But
just fill in some space.
No, I appreciate it. No, you're doing your job. I'm trying to make sure that I think Pete's gonna come on.
How's your Lancero smoking? Let's talk about our cigars.
It's great. It's great. It's fantastic, and I do love this cigar. I've had several of these. I love this blend in the Lancero, and the reason being is because like we kind of got into a little bit deeply before, you can really taste the Cameroon.
Yep.
Pete's coming on. He said he needs 2 minutes. Okay, sounds
Nice.
good. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's just been
The Cameroon.
yeah.
On the Lancero,
Sorry.
you can
I'm
really
so
taste
sorry.
it.
I'm all frazzled now. No, yeah, you can really taste the Cameroon on this one. And the reason why I bring that up is obviously on the Lancero, thinner ring gauge, you taste more of the wrapper. But that African Cameroon, the Cameroon wrapper that they get from the Mirafel family that Fuente uses, it is such a great tobacco, and it's so flavorful. And in the Lancero. Yep. It's a shame that they don't really mass sell these so that more and more people can try it. But for those who have, and anyone who gets to try these in the Lancero, it really is especially if you like that tobacco. If you like the regular Don Carlos line, you really get an appreciation for that wrapper tobacco because you can taste it so much more, and it's so flavorful. And I'll be honest with you, I always smoked like the number 2, and I I love the Don Carlos, the personal reserve, the short ones. Those are great. But I never really realized how much flavor and how strong that wrapper is until
Mhm.
I started smoking it in the Lancero, and it's wonderful. It really is. And like I said, the construction is fucking great. It's perfect. It's perfect. Um, Sorry, I'm just reading the comments here. Carl's with us, and Carl, thanks for being here with us. Matt, on a live show, you've got to know how to tap dance. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I know how to do the dance. I've never had someone leave abruptly for an emergency, which is totally excusable, and I don't hold that against Jose. But then also have another high profile guest
Say that
come
for
in
one.
at the last second where I send out a text message, hey, can you jump on because so and so left and I know you got shit to talk about, and they're like, yeah, give me 2 minutes, and then they're coming on. So I mean, and then having to transition a whole show like while you're already on the air, this is a first
It's
for
fun.
me.
It's fun. It's fun times.
It is. It's fun times. It's always a learning experience. I'm gonna very
If
unprofessional lean over and refocus my camera because for some reason it went out of focus. How is your Casa Fuente smoking?
if I'm not wrong, this is also Cameroon. I'm pretty sure on the Casa Fuentes. I'm not 100% sure on the blend. Though.
Yeah,
I was trying to look it up. It's really hard to find the blend on these. Maybe the Fuente site might have it, but
so with the
I
Casa.
swear I heard someone say it's Cameroon.
Well, I think there's two different. I think there's a Cameroon and I think there's another version. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I think there's a
Um,
Maduro version that is not Cameroon, but I
yes,
think
there's a
the
Maduro and
natural.
then I think there's the Cameroon, just like the natural, so to speak.
Yeah, I think I have the natural here, but yeah,
Um,
I'm really enjoying this. Again, construction wise, you've been seeing this entire show, just great inch to inch and a half, 2 inch ashes that I tend not to let my ash get too big, and it's been just rolling off nice and easy. Nice easy burn line, great draw on it. It's combusting great, and the flavors um, have been awesome through the entire thing. I always enjoy the Casa Fuente. Uh, it's a great blend for me personally.
yeah, they make some great cigars, and what's funny is I think I talked about that blend with Jose before, and this was a few years ago, and he wasn't quite sure on it, and it's funny because that was like one of the only cigars I don't even think I asked Carlito about when I was in the factory. We talked about a lot of different blends and tobaccos they use and how they do certain things. And the Casa Fuente is like the one cigar that I didn't actually pick his brain about. And I kind of kick myself for that now because it is a great cigar. And so many Fuente lovers know that cigar. And if you've ever been to Vegas,
Yeah,
you're a Fuente guy, you always go to Casa Fuente. It's just what you do. And you go see Michael at shout out to him at Casa Fuente. Um, some of you guys may have seen him before and not known who he is, but he runs the show over there. Guy with all the gold chains. I think they call him Mickey Gold Chains. And he's a great guy, and he runs a good show over there. But yeah, no. Oh, sorry. Here comes Tatuaje.
here comes
Oh, damn!
the
Look at
man
that
of the
stud,
hour.
dude. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I know this guy. Who's this guy?
Oh,
Oh shit! Is that Pete Johnson? Fuck! Bringing in some heat.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I
Loud
don't
and
know
clear.
why I'm not connected to my AirPods, so let me see if I can connect.
All right, go ahead.
No.
For what it's worth, you do sound pretty good. So
yeah.
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I don't know why I disconnected. Anyway, how are you?
Good. I've never
Doing
done this
great.
before. Jose,
My
Jose,
God.
Jose's son is not feeling well, and he's like, I gotta go. I gotta take him to the hospital. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, well, I might as well see if Pete's around because there's a lot of hubbub going on right now. And I don't know if Abe's available. I texted Abe too if he wants to jump in here too. But Pete, you're here. Thanks for doing this like so last minute. I appreciate it.
You know what's crazy? I'm sorry, in the middle, name again, please.
Mitchell.
Garrett, no. Mitchell. Sorry, I get you
It's all
guys mixed
good.
up. Mitchell, on the main screen with the three of us, you are next to me. And you have this blue wall that kind of goes into my it
Yes.
goes into my camera this way, and it just looks weird. Like I have like more room than you.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like a weird optical illusion going on.
I bet you if I got rid of the plant, it would look really weird. Like right there. Hey,
Like we're in like the same room, but just like they're painted. There's like a wall that's just painted there.
yeah, but the problem is I have to point this way to reach over to you. Something like that.
High five.
Anyway, it's just strange. I'm having one of those odd days. I've been running around like crazy, packing up
Some
boxes.
might say it's anarchy out there.
It's an anarchy day.
I managed to schedule myself for like 3 like things tomorrow and Friday. So I'm here with you, and it even still says Jose Blanco. I guess I'm Jose Blanco.
Oh fuck! Let me change that. Hold on one second. I can do that.
You know, Pete, my favorite cigar that you make is definitely La Riqueza.
Hey, you know it goes right in because we told the story about Jose smoking your cigar at the trade show.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
How
When he called
how
me,
topical.
when I saw him at Baggage Claim, and he called me fat, not in those words, but essentially that's what he said. And then, so he goes, "Oh, Mazzy, hello, how are you? Hey, you really put on some pounds." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, thanks. Hey, by the way, I have no cigars. You have any cigars on you?" And I pull out all my travel humidors and my luggage, and I'm like, "Yeah, what do you need?" And I pulled out Tatuaje Reserva broadleaf. I can't remember which one, but I know it was a broadleaf. And I was just rifling through. I go, "Here, you going Tatuaje?" He's like, "Yeah, give me that." And I go, "Okay." And then he left, and I had to go to the hotel. And then I saw you like 2 hours later after I went down to the Circle Bar, and you saw me, and you go, "Hey," you go, "By the way, thanks for giving Jose Blanco some Tatuaje." And I'm like, I mean, yeah, no problem. What a night. I get insulted, but then I still have to give a cigar out. It's crazy.
So how long do you plan on letting this go? Because it might be good if Abe does come on. Only because I was also supposed to have a meeting with my brother and Dan, and I told them that I had to get on a podcast real quick. Is this live, by the way?
Yeah, you're in front of the
Yes.
audience right now.
This is
Oh,
live.
howdy, guys. Where are we? On Facebook, or what are we on?
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. For those who follow my Twitter, I've been giving bid-by-bid updates on the Anarchy NFT, which, if you're interested in that information, you should go follow us on Twitter at Smokin Tabacco, where I've been giving pretty fast. No G.
Tobacco. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not gonna turn on the volume, but I'm gonna turn down the volume, and then so I can see the feed.
There you go.
Yeah, get those
There's
comments.
nobody
going.
watching, man. Oh, there they are.
They're there. They're on all. We're on 4 different platforms at the same time, so the audience is kind of
Wow.
spread out. Plus, we had a huge crowd here for Jose, and then Jose left, and then people left because they didn't know you were coming. So, this
Well,
is.
I mean, listen, I'm just happy that people stuck around. As soon as they heard that Jose was leaving and I was coming on, I expect people to leave.
No way, man.
I know. They heard Pete Johnson was coming on. They're like, "I don't know that guy. I'm getting out of here."
Oh, Abe's watching.
Oh, Abe is
just
watching.
Yeah.
Well, I told.
Abe's got to get on eventually because I do have to have this meeting with my brother and Dan.
He just texted me. Just saw this. Need me? Yes. I'm gonna tell him. Yeah, get on here.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll try to. I got the hello at 4 L's. That's probably because I had my do not disturb on and I didn't see his message until right now. So yeah, Abe, I sent you to get on here just as fast as you can. Whatever. Pete can't stay too long. So, I'll get right to it then. So Pete, since you're here, because I don't want to hold you up then, and then I'll get into it with Abe. First one sold today, $100,000.
Yeah.
You gotta be feeling good about that. I mean, that's more than LFD did with all of theirs. I think the highest theirs was like 98,000. 98.
Well, I mean,
something.
you would know. You actually told me the dollar amounts.
I did. I think it was
I love how you're
98,000.
playing coy.
I think it was 98,000. But I know for a fact you guys did more. So you did 100,000 on the first one. You still got 5 more to go because Abe's holding back the 7th one for Smokin. And I know there's already bid actions going on the second one, but I know that Abe's kind of put a lot of it together, and you've kind of focused. I know you've said you focus more on the cigars and whatnot, but it's gotta be kind of that feeling of relief, like shit. People actually bought into this thing. We sold the first one.
Dude, I said it from the beginning, and I told Abe when he pitched it to me, I said, I don't know. I almost feel like it's like kind of like jumping the shark. And you know the term, right? From Happy Days and the Fonzie jumping the shark. And it's been used over and over again throughout the years since that episode. But yeah, ultimately Abe was coming at me with these crazy, things to add to it. And now he's got this NFC, which is this chip that he's going to put on every box. There he is.
There he is.
But the only thing that I was worried about is trying to impress him with this freaking humidor that I made.
The big triangle?
And the big triangle, which is, Abel, no, it's not an easy thing to ship, and it's not an easy thing to find boxes for either. But I was happy that, obviously the cigars came out great. I'm really happy with that. That's the first and most important thing. The challenge was like, I don't make humidors. I don't have a good contact to make humidors. So I challenged the box factory to come up with something really cool. And I think they, based on a drawing on a piece of paper, they did a great job.
I mean, it's definitely unique. And I've seen it because, Mitchell's seen it because, we were at the trade show and it was on display. And it was, I don't know why I thought it was like just a little smaller. But I saw it and I was like, "Shit, that thing's pretty big." That's a massive triangle.
I actually thought it was going to be smaller. But yeah, it's going to definitely be a showpiece. I think Abe actually has a triangle in his store window, don't you, Abe?
In the vintage room.
Your vintage room is a triangle. So I think this will actually fill up the whole triangle.
Close. It's actually close, yeah.
Abe, welcome to the show, buddy. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging there.
No, man, it's we were just having dinner. It just started. I saw the text, and I didn't know if Pete actually jumped on or not. So I went to go look to see if something happened. I hope everything is all right with. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm glad to hop on.
Yeah, no, Jose was with us, and then Jasper was really sick, and he's like, "Guys, I gotta go." Jasper's really sick. We got to go to the hospital. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a problem. No problem. And then I just, on my feet, I'm like, let me see if Pete Neighbor around, like on this very short notice, because this would be a great time for them to jump on the show. So thank you both for being able to jump on here last minute. Like I said, I know it's kind of quick, but I pivoted fast. I did the best I could do. So, and given how successful you guys have been today and with everything that's been going on, you were the first 2 people I thought of, and I said, let's see if they are available because we were going to talk about this anyway, but now we can kind of talk about it a little bit more. Pete, I know you're kind of on a time crunch, so I don't want to keep you too long. Whenever you got to go, just let me know.
No, sorry. Yeah, I'm like, I was literally in the middle of doing some artwork for a box for something, and I had no plans on getting on a call until my brother texted me and said, do we want to talk tonight about sales programs? So I was like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that because I've been doing so many of these things that I need to get a calendar put together, I guess.
You're starting to become like Jose. You're getting old school. You gotta, I know you're 50 now, and the mind starts to.
I'm on my way to 53.
Oh, that's right. 53. That's right. You're on your way to 50. That's even worse. You're getting even older.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that.
It's okay. It's okay. You still look young, Pete.
You don't look a day over 40.
By the way, Matt, that Bulls T-shirt wasn't fitting you too well at the trade show.
You know what, Pete? Really? You gonna do that?
Ooh.
I guess I deserve that.
None of my shirts fit me well anymore either.
I guess I deserve that. I did that to myself. Oh man! And I know, and Abe's here, and Abe's no stranger to talking shit too. He'll put people in their place. So I gotta be careful. I can't talk shit with Abe because he'll roll over me. So, that's one there
Well,
I don't want to poke.
how many times have you paid Abe a $5 bill or a signed
I never
bill?
have.
Oh, I don't think Matt's lost one yet.
Not yet.
Wow.
Not yet. Yet.
See,
That's
I
the
just
key.
make sure I don't bet with Abe.
Exactly. That's the first step.
Although I would
Don't
owe him a
bet
bill
Abe.
right now because I told him that it wouldn't go for this much money.
Really?
Well,
I
the over
did.
under was 80, right?
But I did not bet him. So I'm smart. I don't bet him.
Yeah, you played that one safe. You would have been paying up. Abe, let me get your thoughts and opinion. First one, 100,000. It's gotta feel good, man. You know, so far it's a success. You know, you got people turned out, people started bidding. A lot of action, exciting to see. You know, what were your thoughts today when the first one ended?
I had a bittersweet day today. It was kind of interesting. I had actually one of my first partners in Smokin for the first few years, a dear friend of mine. Had to go spend the whole morning in the hospital with him. He's not doing well, so I wasn't really.
Sorry.
Yeah, I found out yesterday, and it's one of those situations where you don't want to waste a day because you don't know if there's a day to waste. So I was literally in the hospital when everything's going down, and I wasn't able to talk or whatever. I texted a little bit with people, but obviously I heard the news when it happened. And can you close that door? Thank you. I heard the news when it happened, and for me in my career, and Pete and I were talking about it after this. It's always cool when you could break a barrier or set a record or do something. And we were talking about how, at least my personal feelings was that we've kind of now done something twice that was groundbreaking with the same cigar.
Right.
Yeah.
With the same cigar. So
Same brand.
this way. Yep. Thank you. My daughter's gonna help me mount this thing because I kind of get in her last time, so I don't have to keep bouncing and shaking everything while I'm talking to you guys. Thank you.
It's a beautiful angle.
So yeah, you're better than the bouncing and the shaking, yeah. So I mean, look, it was I had and I don't know if your listeners have heard it. Both Pete and I say this. The LaFleur people were amazing in helping us out. In fact, John is still helping me out, working with me on getting these NFC chips done. They've been stellar. They've been excited for us, and obviously they saw something that I'll tell you right off the bat. I was a retailer who didn't get it when it first came through, and I think being a retailer myself gave this project an advantage in the fact that I had a retailer perspective on what I thought would be valuable, what I thought would be exciting for me as a retailer, because I knew my consumer base and Pete's fans would be excited about. And I think that today was very successful. I think, the rest of these are going to prove to be successful, whether it's less or more. At this point, I don't think it's the barometer of how successful it is. I think the real success, as far as I'm concerned, is what happens when these projects land at retailers, or the final NFT holders. If it's a consumer, he's a collector, nothing. But I know the first person that won it is a retailer. My assumption is, I think Coop and I do have a bet that there'd be no more than one consumer who will obtain an NFT. So Coop has two or more. I have one. But I think it's definitely a retailer play. I think even at the value of what it was acquired today, myself as a retailer, I see phenomenal value of it. And it's kind of funny because you're watching a lot of comments by consumers, because it wasn't made for an end consumer, and most people don't even understand the package, or they're off the wall thinking that people are just bidding on a piece of art, but it wasn't. And that was what the retailer side of me bought. I knew Pete and his skills and his talents and what he's built with the brand and his company. What we did with the first time this was released, and even the second release in 2015. So Pete did his magic, and Pete did it brilliantly. I mean, and I think that fans all across the country will be looking for these cigars to record, because we had them up until I think they were in my rare and vintage room in 2017. Maybe was the last time there might have been some floating in my rare and vintage room. And that's a cigar that my company will still get emails to date, wondering if we still have any. Either they come across an article or they just heard about it, and we're like, yeah, they're gone. So for me, the victory is to have this historic cigar, in my opinion. Now it's going to be available, even though it's in limited small quantities, every year for fans and consumers to smoke and appreciate. And I think that's where the real success of this project it'll be long term.
No,
Abe, I have to tell you this story though, just real quick. I know you're going to jump into something else, but I was talking to my wife about it. She goes, "How long do you have to make this?" I go, "No, forever." And she goes, "There's not like a 10-year thing." I go, "No, it's forever." And I go, "Eventually, when I'm not doing it, the kids get to do it. So they better be prepared that they're going to have Abe's kid calling them saying, 'Where's my boxes?'"
Yeah. I mean, we've been asked this question, and there's no real reason why this ever really ends unless one of the companies becomes defunct. And I'll be honest with you, actually, even if my company becomes defunct at some reason, Pete can still handle it. But there's no reason, because even if down the road, 10 years, one of us becomes acquired, the binding agreement between our two companies becomes, a still binding agreement. So there's no reason for this to end outside of a real apocalypse.
Now, for those who don't know, like you said, a lot of people think, oh, you're just buying an NFT piece of art. And you guys have kind of stepped up the level of what is actually being offered with the purchase of this NFT. Off the top of your head, what are all of the items being given to the purchaser of the NFT?
You want me to field this one, Pete? Yeah, all right. So
I can field it.
I mean, listen, Pete can tell you about the cigar and the cigar page. I'm being honest with you, I had nothing to do with that. Pete was sending me pictures while it was in progress and finished. I think he created a pretty badass humidor for a company that doesn't make really humidors, right? And he made this kind of really cool package. They're all numbered. I've seen it live. If you've been to the trade show, you've seen it. It's pretty spectacular piece. And the boxes. So Pete can tell you about that part, and I can tell you about the utility and the rest.
Yeah, I mean, again, I came from a retail background also. So when Abe kept on pitching me these new added items to this thing, I kept on thinking about whoever ended up with the package and ended up with the product. I was always pushing for them to get a little bit more, even to the point where I subconsciously went from a 60 count humidor to a 75 count humidor by accident. And that's probably why the triangle's so big. But and I also wanted to make sure that the cigar that's inside the humidor, not so much the cigar, but the packaging on the cigar was slightly different than the boxes of 15 that go out on the regular play. So I made sure that the band was different on the cigars that are in the humidor, just slightly. There's a double holographic foil on the top and bottom of the humidor cigars, and then of course the regular cigars are the picture that you posted earlier, Matt, where it has the white or cream color up top that says NFT edition.
Yep.
So I'm always thinking in the sense of like I want to give it more added value, and then Abe started showing up with, how about this Zycar Perfect Cutter that no one has yet? How about this ashtray, this crystal ashtray that matches the artwork and the cutter matches the artwork? And then boom, how about a line 2 DuPont? Like, how do you get a 1 of 1 line 2 DuPont? They don't make them.
No.
So thanks to Les Mann.
Yeah.
As well as they're also getting a framed version of the piece of art. Is that correct? To like hang in their physical store. So not only are they getting the digital copy, but an actual piece, 1 of 1 piece of art.
Yeah. So
Abe's definitely got a lot of stuff to box up.
Yeah. What resonated with me on the LaFleur NFT drop was the cigars. That's something that's tangible for the retailer. So I really wanted tangibility because I'm not going to lie, the value of a digital print. I mean, look, one of the things that we did differently, which John actually commended me on, was make 7 unique pieces of art, right? So everybody really is technically getting the original technical piece of art. Now, the value of hiding that on some, whatever they call it, blockchain or in your Meta wallet or whatever it is, to me, that didn't relate. So I said, look, this whole thing really started out was the winner would get that humanoid, and I insisted on making a quality print. So someone could at least say they could hang it in their office. I mean, these are actually pieces, like I would hang some of these in my home. They're pieces of art. All right, so at least I got something tangible on it, and then the value would be in the cigars. I happened to walk in accidentally on a meeting that my operations guy was having with STD Pot. This man was there, and one of the representatives from Paris was there, and we were talking about DuPont. I've been in the business 27 years. How DuPont is trend, how DuPont's trending with the younger generation, and I mean, honestly, just off the cuff of my head, I said, "Hey, you know, I'm kind of working on this pretty exciting new thing, and I think it'd be cool if you guys wanted to get involved." And I showed it to him. I showed him the art. I showed him what I was asking. They didn't even know if he could do it. He showed excitement. So I didn't tell Pete about this for a while, because for a while we were just going back and forth with to Paris to even see if this was possible. And then there was legal side of it. We had to make actually some changes to one of the pieces of art to conform with their legal department. So this is going back and forth. So while this is going back and forth, I was working with Zycar on developing the XI1 perfect version of their XI1 cutter. And, you know, we have Smokin has an exclusive on that cutter now for the rest of this year. I think next year it's going to be sold to everybody. But, you know, I just thought it'd be cool because it just seemed like a natural evolution. And I just said, God, wouldn't it be cool if the first 7 cutters? They literally had to rush a half a dozen cutters before the lot came here so that we could have had them in time to get to the trade show and to do the photography and whatnot. But they were literally the first 7 perfect cutters that were ever used or made. So to have that, then it was only tangible to have the ashtray. So it was just kind of an evolution process of making these collectibles that were tangible, that retailers would not only be excited and consumers excited about, but to be a genuine package there. I mean, I'm already working with a carpenter to figure out a very special display that I'm going to put in my rare and vintage room. It's going to encase the whole thing. And I'm going to put a silly price on it. And I really hope no one ever buys it. I don't want to really sell it, you know, but I'm going to put like a number that like, I just probably won't be able to say no on it. And then if that happens, that happens. I mean, yeah, it's an emotional thing because I only have one. I don't want to give it up, but you know, I mean, we're in the business, so I don't know. It may be so stupid that I guarantee no one will ever offer it to me, and if they do, I won't feel that bad. You know, I don't know. But the cigars and the Anarchy cigar that now will historically be available, ongoing is I think the true pinnacle of this whole project. Everything else is just really kind of temporary. But those will be around forever. I think Pete's fans and the fans of the Anarchy cigar out there will hunt whoever has these boxes, and it'll bring another tangible value to savvy retailers who can understand that. I remember being, I don't know, what was the second or third Unlucky 13, Pete? I can't remember, but it was one of the early
You were
ones.
second. Yeah, second. Which is the unfortunate year because that was the year I really screwed up the packaging. I laugh about it now, but it's still painful to think about.
Yikes.
So this is before Facebook, really, before social media was big. I don't even know if I had a web presence at this time. Maybe we had just started. What year was that, roughly, the second or third one, Pete?
Well, it would have been 2009, second one.
Yeah, so it was fresh, literally. Like we were a year old, you know, having a website. Still looked stupid as hell, and people didn't know us. But when Pete put a bulletin board, I think we're all on bulletins. When Pete made a comment of, here's the unlucky 13. Man, I'm telling you, our phones rang off the hook for about 3 days. I mean, it was a pittance amount of boxes we were getting, significantly more than 15. But people all over the country never heard of us were calling us. I believe that this project for retailers who acquire it is going to bring that kind of value too, that people will seek them out because none of us are going to have that many. I could sell 420 boxes in a month, less than a month, maybe in a day if I had it myself. So to have these
I
guys
think
going,
that if you had the yearly allotment yourself, you would probably sell them out in one day.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so people will seek these other retailers. If they call this favorite retailer and he doesn't have it, they're going to go down to the next list. So there's a huge tangible value, I think, in this project, just on a utility level, a brand level, a history level of cigar. The involvement with Pete and his long history and reputation in this industry. It's going to be an exciting next couple of days, but I just didn't know which way to go to the one that nobody was interested. So
I'll tell you, Abe. Sorry, Abe. Thinking about it though, just thinking about it now, like I have one way I could have done a better job with the whole thing, and I'm going to tell you how. And it's gonna really piss you off that we didn't think of it earlier. If I had made secondary bands with all the individual artwork, and only those NFT holders got those ones with secondary bands for their NFT. So a secondary band with the artwork on it would have gone to each person that owned the NFT. Wait for it, and that would make it more of a collector thing. So because the end consumer would want to get all 7.
Oh, great idea.
Pete, there's always year 2.
It's never too late. Only one is sold.
There's always
no,
year
but
2.
the cigars literally landed on Abe's loading dock, as the auction was ending.
Oh wow! Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Literally, Pete. I couldn't respond, but Pete was texting me pictures. Hey, it's arrived. I guess your driver must have been sending you pictures, yeah.
Yeah, he sent me a picture just to proof of delivery.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's something that I think. But see, that's why I like working with a guy like Pete. Look, I mean, this project's basically done, and we're still thinking about how it could have been better. And that's the nice thing about it is that you make see year 2, and they come out in that fashion. I mean, it's exciting to have been involved in this. I literally called Pete and I thanked him. I said, "Thanks for trusting me." Because I'll be honest with you, Pete will tell you he just didn't really get it. I kind of had to explain it.
That was going to be my next question. Like, Abe? I know you said at first you didn't get it, and you kind of figured it out. But Pete, when you heard this, were you like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, I told you earlier I was super hesitant. I mean, I told Abe first off I thought we were going to be jumping the shark or something, but he proved me wrong, and he came up with an amazing utility package. I mean, I did my part with the cigars and the box that they're coming in, but when he started adding all these cool things to it, it was just like, okay, that's exactly like I felt better and better about the project and more confident that people would respond to it. So I think adding that utility package really makes a huge difference in the final result. So, Abe, you remember that thing you showed me the other day?
Yeah.
That could still be the thing that you put the individual artwork on.
Yes. It'd probably be a lot.
Something's brewing right now.
Oh, I think a lot of
the only problem is that wouldn't work with box buyers.
Yeah, true.
A lot of listeners seem to want to know when can they expect these cigars to be hitting retail shelves?
Not only that, but once they're all sold and the NFTs are completed and everyone knows who owns what, right? When do those owners get that first batch of the cigars?
So the first thing would be to ship the utility packages to get those, because those are really ready. It's just a matter now of all the processing and paperwork finishing up from Eureka. I'm not sure what they're doing is. I'll probably ship these all out at the same time. So, I don't know what the timeline is between the last auction, which I think is the 1st of September or something like that, where the last one ends.
Okay.
But I can't imagine it's more than a week or two. The utility packages will go out because those will be paid for. I'm going to guess by the end of September. So the humidor and the lighter and all that stuff for each guy will go out. And the cigars will probably go out shortly after that. So it's kind of nice because the beginning of October is actually the 4th quarter of this year. So it kind of works out to an annual calendar as far as quarterly allocations. We'll get October, November, and December. It's just that we're figuring out how that transaction history is going to go, and the payment method for that, depending on who gets the final NFTs, whether it's a consumer or another retailer. And but I'm going to predict pretty confidently by the end of the 1st or 2nd week of September, utilities and cigars should be landed at the NFT owners. By the 1st or 2nd week of October, yeah.
Wow. That's a quick turnaround too, and
Well, our stuff is done. We're not waiting on anything.
Right.
Really, it's just legal and paperwork and all that hoopla. And the only reason why the cigars might come a little bit later is not just the invoicing and the payment, because now that's a separate transaction. I'm trying to make sure we get this NFT technology. And John is actually helping putting it together. We were trying to get a company to figure it out, and John finally just gave up and said, I'll show you how to do it. So, if we can get these NFC chips to work the way we want them to, it's going to be really cool because the guy who won today's NFT will actually get a box that will be NFC chipped 1 through 15. So that box will be historically tracked. If someone never opens it or smokes it, 5 years from now, they'll know that's box number 1 or 10 or whatever.
Right.
So
that's pretty cool
but
stuff.
I'm guessing this. Yeah, I'm guessing this all can really be out there by early mid-October.
Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask both of you is, so I know that there's been multiple Tatuaje Anarchies. There was also the Chaos, which is a different cigar. Now, that was also a microblend, Abe?
Well, the Anarchy, which was our first microblend that was released in 2010, was its own unique shape, size, and everything. And then in it became like a series. Honestly, I actually trademarked the 4 horsemen and every horseman because eventually I just thought it would evolve into that whole theme of where that was going. So in 2012, we released Apocalypse, which Apocalypse had a different wrapper, right?
What's that?
Apocalypse. That was a different wrapper, yeah.
Apocalypse was broadleaf, and that was a shorter, much shorter size.
Right. It was
that
a
was
shorter
a fun
size.
cigar.
It was a shorter size, the same shape a little bit. Shorter size, red band, and we called that Apocalypse. That was in 2012. In 2015, Pete made 666 boxes of an Anarchy again, but we called it Redux. And those actually have different bands. It's funny, when we started this project, I got everybody texting me these Anarchy pictures. I actually had another retailer who has an original box in 2010. I offered to buy it off him, but he wouldn't sell it to me. Because I don't even have one. Danny Dickowich, Pete. Next time you're up there, see if you can just snag it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Abe, I wouldn't be surprised if Danny ends up bidding on one of these packages.
He was interested. Yeah, he was one of the retailers I talked to a lot at the trade show. So 2012 was Anarchy. Then 2015 was the Redux. And then it wasn't until 2020 that we made Chaos. And that was a trademark I was holding on to for a long time. So we made the Chaos, which was basically the same blend as the original Anarchy. It was a normal Toro shaped size cigar with the trademark little.
Yeah, that was actually a like a 109 shape, but a shorter version of it. So the 109 is kind of a weird bellicoso / round head. It's kind of a weird morphed head, and then I put that little honey bun on top of it. So that was a straight cigar. Of course, the original Anarchy is a perfecto. The size is actually based off of my original Avion 11, but also obviously altered to give it the shape that it has. It's very specific, for sure, because you take the mold of the Avion 11, which we eventually box press, but when it's round, we actually shave off a little bit of the top, the head, then apply the honey bun, but then the foot gets cut a little shorter so it's not as pointed. It's more of like a cross between like a straight cigar and a perfecto, because the foot's more opened up instead of, or what we call the mouth of the cigar is more opened up compared to the Avion, which comes to a point.
So it's open, but it also tapers down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For lack of better words, I hate using this word, but it comes to like a little bulb.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Now,
It's an awkward word, right?
When we were doing the chaos in 2020, Pete was our honorary guest for the pre-event dinner at the Great Smoke. So we thought it'd be a good idea to give everybody, because the Great Smoke was in February. I think we released Chaos in end of March. So we thought it'd be cool if everybody who got that dinner would get a 3-pack of the Chaos before anybody else in the country. That was kind of a little dinner gift.
right.
So Pete loved the idea of this nice little coffin, and once again in Pete Johnson fashion, he starts texting me pictures. Hey, I was thinking about, trying a different wrapper on one of these and maybe putting it in there as a surprise or whatever. And he showed me a picture, and it was a lighter wrapper. And one of the trademarks I had was, it was Death, because he's one of the 4 horsemen, and he wrote a pale horse. So I just threw that name out there, and he liked it. And that's how that horse happened. So I think we only had 300 packs that were made for that dinner. So I think Pete only made like 330 cigars ever of the pale horse that was in the Chaos version. So I had people offering me stupid amounts of money for that cigar. That night, they wanted to give me $300 for that cigar, $250 for that cigar. And it was just crazy because it was one, and they could never get another one again. You got 1 pack with a dinner. There were guys who were happy they bought their wife. So I went to Pete. I said, wouldn't it be cool if like these NFT owners would get a special 15 count of a pale horse version of the original OG Anarchy? And he loved it. And once again, he ran with it again.
So on the pale horse, those are one time that come with the NFT. So that's not part of the continued production. That's whoever gets the NFT, they get one batch, and then those are gone, and then it's just the regular NFT.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I was talking with Jose Ortega, who is the vice president of sales for my father today, and we talked about the pale horse that's in the humidor. And if someone were to break open the humidor and sell those pale horses, I can't even imagine what those things will sell for, because there's 105 of them. That's it.
Wow.
But then if you break open the pale horses, then you ruin the whole package humidor. So
That's true too.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I could think of 20 marketing ways I could break open that humidor and make packages and promos with the inside and probably make more money, but I don't want to. My heart won't allow me to break it up. So it's just interesting what retailers want to do.
Abe, your sound's cutting out a little bit. Just so do you have your AirPods in, or is it your phone?
Let me ask you something. Did that get any better for you?
Not really.
No? Let me try this. I got my AirPods in. How about now? Any better?
It's a little bit. It's more consistent.
Well, now. Let me see here.
Sorry. I just figured I'd let you know now.
Can you hear me any better?
no, that's worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
Hold on. Let me do one thing. I had to go outside. Shut this off here.
Oh, see that's actually crystal clear. Whatever
Yeah.
you're doing, but now you're motionless.
Yeah, now you're frozen.
I think
Well-
he tabbed out.
Yeah, I'm trying to shut some things off here.
It's a good frame. The concentrated face of Abe.
That might make it quieter. Let's see here. Now I don't know how to get back onto the camera. Okay.
Did you
Let's see.
did you leave the window?
I minimized it, but now I go to. Oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah, there you are.
So do I sound any better or worse?
Yeah, you sound better because now it's not cutting in and out. It was like cutting in and out before, so like I'd hear you good, and then it'd be kind of drowned out. So now I can hear you.
Might be
Probably your
foggy out
Wi-Fi.
here.
Yeah, it could be that. There we go. I think you're gonna be okay. It's a little better
It's
now.
hot out, bro.
P, I don't know. I don't want to keep you too long. Are we keeping you from the meeting too? I don't want to hold you up.
No, I can probably say about another 5 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can make that work.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't even plan on this, so now I'm like kind of starting the whole show over from scratch. But I don't. If you gotta go, just tell me when you gotta go.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys just coming on too. I mean, like I said, I was just trying to salvage the rest of the show time. But no, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, the second one, just as an update for anyone who is tracking this, so the second one is live. It started at 12 noon today, and it will run until Friday at noon, unless, of course, I anticipate the overtime aspect, which I need to explain this. Cause
Yeah, please, because I was confused too.
Okay. So we learned this last year when LFD did theirs. So because they use the same platform, any bid that is placed on one of the auctions within the last 10-minute window will automatically extend it another 10 minutes. So when you get down to 5 minutes, someone makes a bid, now it's 15. And then you get down to another 6 minutes, now it's 16. It'll keep doing that until the bids stop.
Ah,
So, like, for example, it was supposed to end today at noon, but the first one ended at like 1:30.
Yeah.
Because the bids just kept coming in and coming in and coming in. So it will auto extend. Now the next one will start on time and will pretty much be going simultaneously as that other one still wraps up, because now the next one is on its schedule and it will go. So I anticipate, because, you know, like I said, there's almost every single one of theirs last year did that. And I already saw it with you guys. I anticipate that the rest of these will probably follow the same pattern. So as much as they end at 12, they probably will go past that. Because, and especially at that time right at the end, I mean, that's when people are, you know, putting in those bids, because, you know, now it's crunch time and, you know, people are going to go back and forth. So there was a whole extra hour and a half on this first one. So
it's not like eBay where
No.
you can jump in at the last
Exactly.
second and steal the auction.
That's
No.
what they're trying to prevent. They don't want somebody sitting there with a figure, watching the clock, 3, 2, and then hit send.
yeah,
You know, they're trying to stop that. They're trying to make it fair for everybody. That's why they don't do that.
but NFT number
I
2
think it's fair.
is
I
currently
think my brother called it soccer mom rules.
soccer mom rules. NFT number 2 is currently at $45,000, and it's being bid on by Spitz6654.
That's a new one.
Yeah, new one.
Today.
I also saw a Cigar Hustler bid in at $33,002. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Our boys at Cigar Hustler were throwing some bids in there.
I saw that too.
Mm-hmm. And Jay Davis, I know, was bidding on the first one as well, but I think he tapped out between like 40 and 50,000. We also have Petrie, who was bidding on the first one for a while and has already been bidding on the second one. So, which is interesting. You know, I know people get excited, but people bid on these, and like the first one, there was a decent amount of bids in the first day. And it was funny because I'm like, you know, people are already bidding, but like they still got 2 days to go. So, you know, all you're doing is really driving it up early,
You
which
know what?
is great for you
know
guys.
Here's the thing, because I've been in kind of these bidding things, right? So when you see something low, and it's so low for a while, you're just so paranoid that it may actually go this low. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I think you don't know, like the last hours, 2 hours, like, well, you know, I don't want to maybe accidentally get tied up. Listen, let me just throw the next highest bid, because if no one's bidding on top of this guy, my bid may be the next bid. And I've done that myself, you know, in bids I've been in auctions I've been in, especially timed ones like this. When you're there live and you're, raising your hand, it's a lot easier not to worry about. There's less psychology. It's just a matter of how high you're willing to go. And in this, there's a lot of psychology, just waiting and wondering, and it's nuts.
Yeah, it is interesting to watch people bid and to see the patterns, follow the patterns, when people bid, how much they bid. It's funny, like in eBay, Pete mentioned eBay before. I mean, I remember bidding on stuff on eBay back in the day, and like you see something and you're like, oh, it's at like 32, but I'll pay like a max of like 80 for it, right? And so you throw in like $80, and then it just will like auto bid itself until it taps you out. But you can't do that with this. You have to just manually stay on top of it and just keep putting in the small increments, which I think plays an interesting role in it too. Because you can't just throw in like, all right, I'll pay this much for it, and it does it for you. So yeah, it's very different from eBay, which is interesting, very fun.
Yeah, it was confusing because like you said, it kept on adding extra minutes. Like at one point, I saw like an extra 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, maybe it's a 15-minute thing every time. It resets itself, and I was like, this is going to go on forever if it keeps on happening like this.
And it will. If people want to keep bidding, it'll keep going, which is crazy.
Didn't one of the LaFleur ones go really long over past the original auction time?
I think the last
probably
one.
the last one that went for the most. I think that took forever to close.
It did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that last one you guys had today. I mean that was considerably long. I mean, LaFleur is like most of them that only went over like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I think were like most of them. That last one went a while. I think the first one went like a solid 40 minutes. I mean, the one today, the hour and a half. That actually might be the longest one. That was quite a while. And it was crazy to see because I remember following it, and I was at work, and I was following this thing, and it was tough because I was working, but I also had like my phone out, and I was checking it, and then I'd like do some shit, and I'd check the bids again, and I just remember it went on so long that I was leaving work, and I was heading home for the day, and it was still going, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually gonna probably watch this from home, and then it ended just as I got in my truck, so I was like, oh damn. But yeah, I mean, it was exciting to watch. It's definitely a thrill ride. And then the Discord. I mean, you gotta know the Discord that you guys set up for the NFT launches. If people get crazy in there too. They get all excited watching the bids come down. It's a fun group in there. I have to say.
It's a wild, crazy. I mean, these guys are like hyperactive. It's intense. It's funny because the Discord was opened 2-3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. It's been a couple people questions here, a couple comments. When this thing started on Monday, like it blew up. I had never seen that. I think it's the first Discord group I'm in. I mean, and I've never seen that. These guys are like uber pumped and excited.
Oh yeah, very pumped, very pumped. And LaFleur did the same thing last year. And man, that was a wild time. That's all I'll say. That Discord was a wild time.
I warned Abe about the LaFleur one. I didn't see it myself, but people had told me about it. So,
and it was funny because
luckily Abe was able to jump in and calm, settle down everybody and just calm everybody down a bit. So,
I didn't even. But go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go.
I was just going to say, no, it's funny because I forgot that it was starting Monday until after it already started. And I was like, oh, shit, that's today. And I remember I texted Alex, and I was like, or maybe he texted me, but I remember talking to Alex, and it was like, yeah, I got to get in the Discord. And then he's like, yeah, you should get in here because people are asking for you. And I'm like, really? And I got in there, and I realized it was everyone who was in the one last year who remembered me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, shit. And everyone's like, when's Smokin Tabacco get in here? We got to get him in here. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, it's all the same people. Okay. Apparently, my arrival has been, impending with this group. I had no idea. So now I felt like an obligation to be there for this group. So, last year was interesting because I had a little bit extra time on my hands because I was a little extra free last year, and so I spent all my time covering the NFT launch. So then when this one happened, I'm like, well, fuck it, I got to do it again because it was so much fun. I'm in this, so that's why I'm just all over this thing right now because it's just fun
your
to follow. Yeah,
It's your thing.
yeah,
That's good that someone's actually covering it.
yeah. I mean, no one else was doing it, so I'm like, fuck it, this is on me. I'm here, and it's two dudes that I love, so I'm here. Let's do this thing. So, but no, it's been good so far, and I want to congratulate both of you on some early success. Like Abe said, though, I know it really won't reflect until the cigars are out there and the NFT owners have them.
That'll be the true sign of the success of this project.
That's very true. That's very true.
All right, Matt, Mitchell, Abe, I love you guys. I gotta jump off. But
Go ahead.
Thank you so
thanks
much for
letting me
coming on.
jump on and shoot the shit with you. And good luck to Jose Blanco and his family. So
Yes.
take care, guys.
Bye,
see you
Pete.
soon.
Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, what a wild night this has been. I mean, we went from Jose to Pete and Abe. Now it's us and Abe. Like I didn't think this was going to be this way tonight.
It's going to be you too, buddy.
I know. We're going to wrap up the show, Abe. We're going to wrap up the show.
I was literally just getting ready to start dinner when I saw your text. I grabbed my phone. My wife had made dinner for us, and they're literally waiting on me.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go. Me and Mitchell will end the show. I have a couple of things I want to get to before we wrap up anyway, so I'll let you go. Abe, thank you for being here. I don't want to hold you up any longer.
Thank you, Abe.
Give my love to Nicole.
I will.
Wish her well. Keep us posted on everything there, brother. All right.
All right, it should only be a couple more days.
That it?
Yeah, it's coming.
Excited for you guys. God bless.
Thank you, Abe. I appreciate it so much. Thank you, buddy.
Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Bye, Abe.
Bye.
Well, that was Pete and Abe. We were going to talk about NFT anyway, so I'm glad that they were able to come on because that was just great the way we were able to put that together. So
I assume that was going to be our news segment for the day.
Well, I was going to say we still have to do the news. I didn't do the news segment just because everything was happening so fast. But I got to bring up the news segment. Let me bring it in here so we can get it because we got to do it. Our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars. The new Micallef Black is a blackout rated 91 on SmokinTabacco.com. Go ahead and check it out. Read the review and buy it for yourself at the number 2 guyscigars.com. It's a blackout. Check it out, Micallef Black. Yeah, pretty much our news segment this week was going to be the NFT. Now, of course, with everyone that came on and talked about the NFT,
That whole segment was brought to you by Micallef.
That whole 45 minutes was brought to you by Micallef Cigars. But no, I mean, there's a couple of things I can bring up here. I mean, there's some headlines I could read. The Black Bomb Firecracker from United Cigars will be shipping in September. I know that the new sizes of the Red Anchor, I think, are also shipping. Oh, actually, I think those are shipping now. I think those are shipping now. Sorry, I'm scrolling through the news section here. Let's see. Warped is going to release the Moon Garden Especial. It's been 5 years since the last release, but that is changing at the end of this month. Moon Garden Especial features the same blend as the original Moon Garden Lancero, with some tweaks to the blend due to the size difference of the vitolas. Warped added more medio tempo to the blend to add an abundance of depth and weight on the palate, and utilizing higher priming fillers, using 100% Nicaraguan tobacco from Aganorsa, and only available in a single vitola, a 5 5/8 by 52 Toro, in boxes of 20. These will be shipped at the end of the month, so which is pretty much this week, next week. So keep an eye on those. Your local Warped retailer, you can find those there. There's a lot. I mean, we've wrapped up our PCA coverage for the most part. So all of that is still on the website. If you head to our PCA 2023 section under the PCA Trade Show tab on the website, you can see all the stories, the booth coverages, the press releases, everything PCA 2023 if you're still looking for it, as well as a closing remark from me that I wrote. You can read all about that. Just my thoughts on the trade show, certain topics, things that have happened, things we saw, learned, etc. That is all on there. CAO announces their V23 limited edition in the bold tradition of CAO V19, 21, and C60. CAO V23 is a powerhouse blend that fires on all cylinders. You can read more about that on SmokinTabacco.com. The Cigar Rights of America Summer Freedom samplers have begun shipping as well. I know that Jose talked about that earlier in the show. We talked about Cigar Rights of America. So there was a summer sampler set that we did see at the trade show. Those have begun shipping. So ask your local retailers about those, and definitely pick those up. They're badass cigars in there. There's an in this one. There's an LFD Solomon. Let me grab that up here really quick. There's a Tatuaje 15. There's a Black Diamond, Diamond Crown Black Diamond. There's a Oliva Serie V Milanio. There's a Padron, My Father, Ashton, Rocky Patel, there's Opus X, and another Serie V Milanio in the 135th anniversary edition. So check those out. It's a great pack. There's some great cigars in there. Ask your local retailer for it. If they don't have it, ask another one. I don't know if these are available at twoguyscigars.com, but you can check. I'm not 100% sure. But you can always go there first. But yeah, I mean, that's our news. I mean, a lot of different things going on, but my whole news thing was going to be the NFT, and so now I've had to, kind of pivot. So it's just been a wild night. I did not expect that, and this has been a week of just unexpected. People have been asking about the baby. The baby's still not here. We're officially late, so I cannot report on that. As of right now, and even if there's still probably going to be a spare notes this week. If I'm not on, actually Kevin will be at Rocky Mountain. So Mitchell, I don't know if you're available for spare notes this week, but if you are, then if I can't make it, it'll be Mitchell and Coop. If you can't and I can't be on, then there won't be. So that's kind of a TBD. But as of right now, there will be a spare notes on Saturday night with Coop, and we'll talk probably a lot more about the NFTs and several other topics that we have coming up. So stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for announcements. Just keep tabs on it because that could change, as I said. So I don't know. It's a day by day for me right now. Other than that, this has been a wild show, Mitchell.
It was a fun show.
It was a fun show. It was a lot of changing and stuff going on, but damn, we were able to kind of.
Thanks everyone for sticking in with us.
Yeah,
we went a little longer than usual, but it was kind of two for one tonight.
How can you not though? I mean, we basically had to start over. Hopefully, we can get Jose back on the show to talk about some more stuff. We're really getting into a groove there with him, and it's fun to talk about so many different things with him. He's a wealth of knowledge. I mean, so. But that's going to do it for the show tonight, guys. Don't forget to go to smokintabacco.com to read more news, cigar reviews, our PCA 2023 coverage, and everything else that we do. More information on the Tatuaje NFTs can be found when you go to news, NFTs, all of our NFT coverage is there, as well as previous NFTs that have happened. If you want to learn about how those happened and what they sold for and all that.
Twitter and our Facebook page,
live
updates.
Yep, as well as all of our social media and everywhere you can download your podcast on audio form on Apple, Google, Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We are on all those channels and apps. So subscribe to us there, download the show, listen to us. It's a great time. We appreciate it. We love all of you. Thanks for being here tonight, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.